Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the beat. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty.
Good morning, Bellows Falls and Keene, and welcome to the feed. It's Mike and Marty. We're back
I
from
know.
vacation.
I was just thinking I think it's been three weeks since we've
Yeah,
done a show.
so we've been together.
I know. I stressed out about doing that opening every time you were gone. I was like, oh, I gotta do the opening.
Well, I stressed out on local events. I stumble through them every time. It's incredible.
Man, we each
that's a
have our
good
niche.
segue. So local events.
Local events at the Bellows Falls Opera House this weekend, the 22nd through the 31st, is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Where did that come from?
I know. I was like, what do you mean it's Ghostbusters Frozen Empire? I haven't seen it like on TV advertised.
But it'll be a first run. It'll be on the release date, so it's great.
It is, and I did watch the trailer, and it's got Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Annie Potts, so it's got a lot of the original cast, and it just looks funny.
Yeah.
And Paul Rudd, he must have been in some of the subsequent ones, maybe. I didn't watch any in between ones.
Yeah.
Truth be told, I only watched the original.
I think he was in the later ones with the kids. Yeah.
So that's the classic movie. Thank you for filling me in on this because I couldn't figure it out. The classic movie is on hiatus right now because of Fiddler on the Roof rehearsals.
Right.
So if you're looking for the classic movie, they will come back. And they're going to come back as part of the Josh Moser tribute. Yeah. A lot of money was raised for classic movies. And I think a lot of the movies are going to be Josh's favorite. So it's a win-win situation if you go to the movies. Speaking of Fiddler on the Roof, you had David in last week.
David was in last week. It was if you didn't see last week's show, you should check it out on the website. Very good. It was really informative, and also, it's just you get more depth the more depth you get.
That's why I didn't. I started watching. I watched most of it, and then got distracted by likely a shiny object. And but I was thinking as I was watching it. That I always think, oh, Fiddler on the Roof, I like the music, sunrise, sunset, blah, blah, blah. And then you always hear David's perspective on a play that he's doing. It's like, oh. It makes you think. It really, so it adds depth to when you go to watch it. Yes, you enjoy the music, yes, you enjoy the acting, but he helps to make you think about what's happening in that play
and
on below the surface level.
On a similar note, starting probably in the next couple of days on Fact TV, there's going to be a program that Sue and I produced about David and the players went to Keene because they were asked by a synagogue to do some songs and talk about Fiddler. So it's called An Afternoon with Fiddler on the Roof, and they were doing a lecture series about Jewish life and Jewish traditions. So this fits right in, and so there was a person there named Randall Carmel, and he presented a talk first and talked about the context of Fiddler on the Roof, how it was 1905, it was in the Ukraine, and what was happening in the Ukraine at the time, and
and fast forward to
to today. It was there were so many parallels, and then so they did some songs, and then David did some speaking, and he talked about his experience growing up growing up and being Jewish, and his parents were had immigrated from Germany in the late 30s. So there's a whole piece there that's really interesting.
And that'll be, when will that be available?
Hopefully today. I don't know. It depends when they can work it into the schedule. I just produced it, and I gave them the video today, so it should be in the next week or so.
And I was going to do shameless plug for the. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
For how easy it is now for people to find videos on the new Fact TV website. So if you go to fact8.com, it's a lot cleaner. It's super easy. You can scroll down on and you can go to just programs, so you can go to just the feed and catch up on feed shows. Like if you want to watch David's rendition.
Right.
I'm thinking yours probably comes under like a special edition or something. Or
Yeah, I
its
think it
own
comes
thing.
under my
But it's really
Smith
super
Presents.
easy to find
Yeah.
on Fact 8 now. So kudos to Fact TV staff and Alex and Colin, because I know that a lot of angst went into getting the new website, and it's a huge undertaking, but it's a really functional, easy to use website.
Yeah.
And I wanted to. We don't always have time to plug that kind of stuff
No.
when we have a guest. So.
And I would throw on the other side is, if you're a producer, it's really easy to submit things too. It
Right.
takes
Oh, yeah.
just a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, super
really
easy.
nice.
Okay, I digressed a little
Yes.
bit. The Gaslight Tinkers are going to be at Next Stage Arts in Putney this Friday night for a dance party. It's at 7:30 p.m. Tickets in advance are $20. Tickets at the door are $24. And here's the part that I think is super cool: is you can live stream it for $10.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, and I think that's pretty innovative. Like
That
that's
is.
pretty cool.
It's
If you
another
like the Gaslight
revenue
Tinkers, but
stream.
maybe you don't want to, it's still
Don't wanna drive.
Don't want to drive,
Yeah.
whatever. Have your own dance party in your own house. You can. So kudos to both Next Stage and Gaslight Tinkers. But if you don't want to leave town and you want music on Friday night, you can go down to Popolo into the lounge. It's going to be Drea Hobbs and Sarah Clay. And you can get a lovely craft cocktail. I think they're still doing their flatbreads,
Yes,
which have
they
been
are.
hugely popular. So a super easy night out in town. But then, if you really don't want to do the restaurant scene with music, you don't want to drive to Putney. Music is my theme on like local events today. You can go to the Moose on Saturday night for Mosey Down, who is a local cover band. They always do a great job, and the cover charge is $10.
great.
So, and that starts at 7 p.m.
And just another, if you stream the Gaslight Tinkers and you go to the dance party and you want to see more of
I
the
know where you're
Gaslight
going.
Tinkers,
Shameless plug.
where might they
might-
be in the
They
beginning of
might
June?
be at the second annual Bellows Falls Festival, presented by the Rotary Club of Bellows Falls and Wild Goose Players.
Yeah, and that's coming up.
It
I
is
know,
coming
but
up.
it's just the beginning of June, so we only have a little bit of time. And the Gaslight Tinkers will be there, plus several of the bands that were there last year, plus some new bands.
Yep, Chad Hollister is the headliner, and I believe the Gaslight Tinkers are right before Chad Hollister, but
Oh.
please don't quote me on that because I can't remember.
Yeah,
the
I can't
meeting.
remember it all.
I know Milkhouse Heaters are going to be one of the local repeats. I'm spacing on the rest. I know there's
Yeah.
quite a lineup this year. It's a pretty
There was
extensive
the
lineup.
people that were the trio last year, but were billed as a quartet. That I can't remember
Oh,
who
I
they
know
were.
exactly who
They
you're
were
talking
really
about.
good. They
Yeah,
were-
yeah. Okay, well, don't quote us.
Yeah,
We'll
don't
just look
quote
for
us and-
flyers and
Yeah.
we'll have somebody.
We will
answer.
come back to that because that's something that we're both interested in and we'll both be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
local music,
yeah.
live music, awesome.
So what else is going on? What did I miss when
What did
I
you
was
miss?
gone?
Oh! Well, you missed what you missed. Thank you for reminding me what I wanted to talk about. What you missed was that one of our favorite nights of the year, the town meeting, did not
Yes.
happen in March. It is postponed. So the town meeting will be on April 1st. No fooling. And town elections will be on April 2nd. So we just want to make sure that people understand, because we did still have the voting that happened back in March. That was voting on the high school budget, the River Valley Tech Center budget, and then the presidential budget. But if you are still wanting to make sure that you get to vote for the select board, the moderators, the union high school directors, all of those type of things, and you will need to go to the polls on Tuesday, April 2nd.
Right.
So you had a question that we're
My
going to put out to
question,
inquiring
and I would-
minds.
Pose this to our audience. I was gone, but I planned on voting, so I filled out a absentee ballot and sent it in. So I assumed that my absentee ballot for the budget and for the presidential primary was counted because you sent in three
Oh,
ballots.
interesting.
So I'm assuming that they counted two of them, but now there's a third that I was wondering what happens to that ballot because now there's a different date,
Right.
there's a different
If
time.
you have to
do I
do you
need to
re-vote?
Yeah, do I need to re-vote? Can I vote 3 times? No.
Wait a minute. Now you're getting into voter conspiracy theories. We don't want to go there.
But if anyone knows the answer to those questions,
Call Mike
please-
directly.
No, don't call me directly. But please either respond on, because we'll post this on Facebook,
Yeah,
so
so-
you'll see it. If you can put it in the comments on Facebook, or I guess you could send me an email if you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question because you get into the technicalities of what's printed on the ballots, and I don't
Yeah.
know. That's a really good question. I don't know, and we don't. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. So
But
if
anyway.
you know, let us know.
Let us know.
Yeah.
So just to reiterate, town meeting Monday night, April 1st, town elections, and there are definitely some contested seats. And another shameless plug for Fact TV, the select board did a candidate forum.
Right.
And Fact TV filmed it, and it's available on the Fact TV website, www.fact8.com.
Wonderful.
You have
Lots
some
of-
clips.
I have some clips, yeah. Like Marty and I were talking, we both were on vacation. I went first and she went second, and we both had wonderful times. And I went to Spain and I spent 17 days.
It's crazy.
I know.
That's awesome.
It was amazing. In Andalusia, which is the most southern district of Spain. So it's just above the Mediterranean Sea and below Madrid and all those other places. And it's actually, there's a mountain range that sort of runs through there, so it's below the mountains. And it happens to be in a place that was very historically significant before 1492, believe it or
Oh,
not.
interesting. When Columbus sailed the ocean blue?
Yes, exactly. Because actually there were two people called the Christian monarchs, Ferdinand and Isabella, who were appointed by the Pope to be married because they were actually cousins, and but the Pope okayed it, and then he wanted them to unite that because I guess Isabella was head of Castile and Ferdinand was head of Aragon, and they were the two biggest areas of what was before Spain, and they united and became.
Part of Spain?
Yeah, they basically united Spain, like England became the United Kingdom. They created Spain, and one of the things they did was they got rid of the Muslim caliphate that existed in Spain before then, which is another interesting thing. So, it's like in 711 A.D., the Arabs and Moors invaded Spain from Africa and basically took over, and they lived there for 700 years.
Wow.
And they
Till
created
1492?
till 1492. Yeah, and they created these city-states, and so Seville and Cordoba and Granada were all city-states that had like fortresses and palaces and all these things there, and basically Ferdinand and Isabella worked their way through those city-states, taking them over, and then in 1492, Granada was the last.
Did they change the architecture? I would assume
Well,
the
that
architecture
was
might
what's
have
so
been different.
fascinating about it is there's all this Moorish architecture, and basically what the Christians did was leave it there and build cathedrals almost on top of it. And if you look at the, if we could look at one of the, I'm not sure which clip is first, but we should look at the Gardens of Alcazar. Is that first, or we could look at the Mesquite? Pardon? Cathedral, anyone. We could just throw that in there. All right.
Gardens of America.
So that was the first. And Alcazar is a palace. And basically, in the statues that you saw, there were Christopher Columbus, Ferdinand, and Isabella, because he went to Cordoba to meet them and then ask for money to sail to the.
Well, the funny thing is, and I don't know if it was on his way here, he made a pit stop, but I was on Scrub Island in the British Virgin Islands, and Columbus stopped there at one point.
Oh.
Yeah, because it was a trivia question about the island, and I had read it somewhere in the. I don't know exactly in what context, whether it was in his on one of his.
Must have been
journeys
one of his first journeys.
to here, but so that's intriguingly, weirdly coincidental.
Yes.
We
The
just want to make sure
small
we had something to
connections.
talk about
That's
on
right.
the show.
Yeah. So basically, what Sue and I did was we visited all these places that had these mixed architectures, or because that was originally a Moorish fortress that the Ferdinand and Isabella converted to a palace and then created gardens around it. So it was really neat. Let's see another clip. Let's see the mosque, the mesquite. All right. So there we go.
Behind glass.
So that was an example of the. It was a mosque, and it was one of the largest mosques at the time. It was one of the largest mosques in the world, and they estimate that there could have been as many as 4,000 people at a time inside,
And
the
that was
arches.
the arch part,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
and the arches create this illusion that you can see out to infinity, because it's almost like a perspective. The art, you see one arch to the next, to the next, to the next, and it creates this illusion of infinity off to both sides. But then you get into the Christian part, yeah, and they go vertical, and it goes into these big cathedral ceilings that are really high and arched and light, and then the amount of gold that they have is just it's I guess breathtaking and just incomprehensible, because
Do you find like you get almost like a little shiver in that you're in a place that's existed for so long? Because I mean, in relatively speaking, any place that we go in here in the United States is relatively young
Yes.
compared to when you go into these. What was the date? Like you said,
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven. I mean, that's like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was part of because I'd heard, I guess in history I'd heard that there had been a Moorish presence. But when you think about it, 700 years is 3 times longer than the United States has existed.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you get this, you can't comprehend the history that you're
Yeah,
seeing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what's so fascinating.
Yes. So it was quite amazing. And I think we have one more clip,
Okay.
and I can't remember which one it is. So that was the cathedral in Seville, and it was built on the footprint of a mosque. They left the gardens and everything around where the cathedral is, but then built the cathedral in the center where the mosque was, and they actually took the original minaret, which was where the prayers were called from, and they added a third higher to it. So it's Moorish up to 2/3 of the way up, and then there's a Gothic a portion on top with a bell tower on top of that, and it's just spectacular to see. And it's according to the people of Seville, it's the largest in volume Christian church in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Still active Christian
Yeah,
church?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting. It's funny because not that particular cathedral, but there was one cathedral that you posted in the pictures that you posted on Facebook. And I'm like, oh, did they take a jaunt to Italy? Because it looked just like I don't remember exactly. I think we were in Amalfi. I think that's where we were. I don't remember where the cathedral was. You know, you go on vacation and you
Right.
check.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, it was like blueprint, same architecture.
Mhm.
It was interesting. It was interesting to see the I don't know if the not pomp and circumstance, but the
Yeah,
amount
oh,
of
it's
gild and glitter and that it's been preserved. And,
Yes.
and it's still there. And a lot of like in the second video, you showed that kind of something in that case. There's a lot of the
Yeah.
There's a lot of the things like that in a case.
Well, and that's interesting because they take that big gold thing that I have no idea how much it weighs, but at Easter they put it on people's shoulders and they carry it through the streets.
And that's so that actually just remember there's something that happens within this cathedral too, that some part of the thing that they have gets carried through the
Right,
streets.
yeah,
It's funny because
yeah.
we so don't do that here anymore.
No, and it's because the other thing is the streets are
They're
like
narrow.
alleys.
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say.
that's what one of the people I was talking to is how impressive that is when you see this street that's no wider than the studio here, but it's probably less wide than the studio, and there's people walking these big ornamental icons through the streets, carrying them and going up and down
I was
hills
gonna say,
and
they're
everything.
not always straight
Yeah, they're
either.
really
They're
not
kinda
they're not
windy.
straight streets, and it's all up and down, and then there's people on the sides and people in the balconies. So it's pretty exciting.
It's exciting, and I hope you're enjoying the little glimpse of what you're getting. We're down to about a minute,
Yeah.
so
This is our digression.
This is our digression. This is our we didn't have guests scheduled, so we decided to wing it. Next week, however, we
Yes.
have the one, the only,
Oh.
Floyd Lawrence.
Oh my God.
So
book your time.
book your time,
Get ready.
set your calendar, set your timers, your reminders
It's
that we
not
have
too
Floyd
early.
next week.
I mean,
coming
they're
on
talking about the
feed.
eclipse, but that's nothing compared to
Nothing
Floyd.
compared to Floyd.
All right. Well, that's it for this week. We'll see you next week for the feed. Bye, community.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Mike.